Well, I am here to speak a little about Paul Taylor and Paul Taylor's Dance Company, and they're coming to Clues on November 5th. That's a Friday evening. Paul himself is going to be 80 this year, and he still makes 2 dances a year. He's still at it. And he's really difficult to put into any kind of a category. One would call him one of the great modern dance choreographers. That's true. In fact, Newsweek at one point, several years ago, called him the world's greatest living choreographer. And that includes all dance forms. At that point, the revered and great Merce Cunningham was still alive, so there was some debate about whether that was actually just Newsweek talking or whether that was more or less consensus in the dance culture, and it wasn't. I think there was some debate about that, but now, unfortunately, Merce died last year at the age of 90, so I don't think there's any doubt at all that Paul Taylor is, in fact, the world's greatest living choreographer. The ironic thing is that Paul doesn't really like to talk about his work, nor does he particularly like other people to talk about his work, because he says dance is a visual medium, and that what he feels he wants to express about himself and about humankind in general is best done in movement. So I sit here, ironically, trying to describe what his work is like. And I think possibly the best way to begin doing that is to talk a bit about the man himself, who I've known for, well, since 1977. He's been a dear friend. He was my boss. I danced in his company. I have taught for him and continue to teach for him. So I know him very, very well. And he has at times called himself a reporter rather than a choreographer, because he feels that he is an observer who can then express what he actually sees of humankind on the stage. And as a reporter, of course, he's going to bring his own point of view. That's very, very important. But he tries to also make his work, in a way, universal in the sense that anyone who comes to the theater to watch a Paul Taylor concert will find something to respond to, something that touches them deeply, where they feel as they watch Paul Taylor's dances that there's something on the stage that is about them, which is really quite extraordinary. And I think really only the very greatest artists have that quality, to be able to express for all of us something that is, in a sense, universal. And I don't want to make it sound too grand, because it's not. There's absolutely nothing intimidating about the work. You don't need to know very much about dance to get anything from a Paul Taylor work. And as a matter of fact, you don't need to know anything about dance to get something from a Paul Taylor work. Generally, there are 3 pieces on any given program, and at least one piece or sections of various pieces will absolutely speak to you, and you will find yourself enjoying it tremendously. But again, here's a man who looks at life. He's an observer. He reports on life. And every dance that he makes is an expression of that particular interest that he has at the moment. So again, it's not so much about a matter of pigeonholing him as he's this kind of choreographer, he's that kind of a choreographer. He belongs to this particular category in dance history or that particular category in dance history. He's pulled all of it. I can see Paul Taylor at the top of the house in a window with his arms crossed, watching people on the street. And that he will see an encounter and he will say, my next dance is going to be about that encounter. It's happened before. One of his greatest pieces is called Esplanade to Bach. And he says that the inspiration for that piece was watching a woman run to catch a bus. And the whole dance is based on pedestrian movement that you and I could supposedly do, but not really. So there's Paul Taylor, the reporter, leaning on his windowsill and watching this brief encounter in the street. So that's just one example of the kind of thing that Paul Taylor is interested in. His movement vocabulary is limitless, absolutely limitless. If you don't like ballet, there will be something else on the program to watch. If heavy-duty modern dance intimidates you, there will be something else on the program that will get to you. So the range of work is absolutely accessible and rich, incredibly rich.